Good afternoon, Salon B here, and today we're going to tell you how Bill Cosby ended up in a criminal trial that you see right now, right before your eyes every time you turn on the news. All right. First of all, we're going to cover all of the evidence in the case, and I'm going to put down in the description link the disposition that Bill Cosby took in 2005 with Costner in a civil case. Then I'm going to tell you what she did next and why Bill Cosby is where he's at right now. And then you'll understand why his wife is standing beside him. Alright, so this is the real evidence of his case from the 2005 disposition that he gave in 2005. Alright, so let's get started. This is called the entrapment of Bill Cosby. Now, all y'all don't know what an entrapment is. Entrapment is when somebody it's like a trap. They trap you into a crime, and whatever you're doing, it comes natural to you, and they just trap you in something or frame you, and you really didn't do the crime. They just kind of like lured you into the crime and then say, oh, no, you're a criminal. Anyway, so let's get started. That's entrapment. So what I believe, what I'm seeing from this case is Bill Cosby has been entrapped by the justice system, which is the DA, which is the District Attorney of Montgomery County, PA, which actually happens to have been corrupted because the FBI had been investigating them. So, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So it's no coincidence that Meek Mill is going through the same justice system, which is actually corrupted. Okay, let's get started. The allegations made by most of the alleged victims don't have dates or times or any location. Okay, when somebody says that you did a crime, it has to be a date. Where did it happen? And what time did it happen? You should know those times. You should know those things. The lack of dates, time, and location makes it impossible to bring legal action. All the victims have a financial incentive. Gloria Allred demanded $100 million for the victims. Okay? Criminal charges are stemming from a 12-year civil law suit. A disposition was taken by the District Attorney of Montgomery County, PA, Bruce Costner, in 2005. Bruce Costner, the former District Attorney of Montgomery County, said constant statements bothered him. It had lots of inconsistencies in it. Constant had contacted a civil lawyer, who was Gloria Allred, before going to the police. Victims do not do that. Constant came a year after the alleged drugging and sexual assault. Bruce Costner stated that Constant had ruined her own credibility and would not be believed by a jury, so it was dropped. Okay, this is when Constant filed a civil lawsuit against Bill Cosby, and the DA, who at the time in 2015 was Bruce Costner, he dropped it because he said a jury would not believe anything that she had to say. So let's go on. Andrea Costner changed her story multiple times. She refused to give answers. She deliberately held relevant information that is consistent with victimhood, which is inconsistent with victimhood, I mean. Constant tried to conceal the fact that her and Bill Cosby kissed and that he continued to feed Cosby and she accepted gifts from him. The times Bill Cosby touched her, there were no drugs and alcohol involved, and the incident was a time before the alleged drugging. Andrea continued to see Cosby and accept gifts, also continuing and agreeing to come to his home. Andrea Constant is also a lesbian. She admitted that she was a lesbian and she had some relationships with men. Constant admitted that in 2005, Andrea Constant went to Bill Cosby's house a night that she wasn't feeling well. She told Cosby about her medical issue, knowing he wasn't a doctor. Bill Cosby gave her something to make her feel better. She took the pills after she told him she wasn't feeling well. 1 year later, Constant filed a civil lawsuit. Well, she found a civil lawyer. Instead of calling the police, she went to a civil lawyer, which was Gloria Allred. She came to the district attorney, Bruce Costner. After Constant filed the lawsuit and said there were many more women, according to Business Insider, December 30th, 2015, Andrea Constant recorded phone calls. She would call Bill Cosby and secretly record while she was having a conversation with him. Cosby found out and he distanced himself once he found out that she was a liar. Bruce Costner, the district attorney, told Bill Cosby if he told the truth in a civil disposition of 2005, he would never be criminally prosecuted. He agreed. He also agreed for the civil disposition to be sealed and Andrea Constant to be put under gag order. Andrea was given $3.36 million as a payout. Constant moved to Canada and went directly to the media while she was under gag order. Okay, now here, let's stop right there. So what Andrea did was she went to Bill Cosby's house. As I said, she told him she wasn't feeling good. And he gave her something to feel better. She was asking for some type of Benadryl. And that's what he gave her. The dispositions about the Quaaludes, I looked at that disposition and one of the lawyers, which was the state prosecutor, or he was taking Bill Cosby's disposition, and every time he would ask Bill Cosby a question, Bill Cosby's lawyer told Bill Cosby not to answer none of the questions that he asked, to stay silent. And they would get him to say certain things and they would try to frame it. They would ask him where he lived at. They would ask him, well, did Andrea come to your house one day? Did she, and he would tell them, yeah, she came over. She told me she was sick. And from my understanding, from things that I read, he was like a mentor to her. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going. So, he gave her the medication. Year later, she sued and said he drugged her. So, him giving her some Benadryl or whatever that she claimed that was Quaaludes or whatever she claimed it was. And a year later, she came with a lawsuit. So she goes to his house. To his house. Okay? Let's keep going. So Andrea was given the $3.36 million payout. She goes to Canada, goes to the media after signing a gag order or having a gag order on her. She was not supposed to go to the media, but she did. Okay, now a judge comes into this, and his name is Judge Eduardo Rubrino. He was the judge that unsealed the legal documents that the press asked for him to unseal. He said his reasoning for unsealing the documents is because Bill Cosby is a public moralist. He delivered the case to the press. The press pushed the story that Bill Cosby was a serial rapist. And this is where you saw Beverly Johnson and all these media whores come out of the woodworks, because at that point, the media had got a hold to the story after the courts gave it to them. And this is why we hear so much stuff that might not be true, because once it goes to the press, it's like split up into like a chopper. It's like a bunch of people you give a message to, and you know how a message gets broken up into a million people, it's not going to come out right. Somebody going to have it screwed up. So I went to the court records. I did not go to any media sites. I found the disposition that Bill Cosby did in 2005, because this is what they're prosecuting him over, and I see what's going on. I'm going to post the disposition down in the link. It's 55 pages long. If you feel like going through all that, you can. I just looked at it, I skimmed through it, and I see that the lawyers are arguing back and forth, and Bill Cosby's lawyer is hollering about they're violating his rights and keep asking him questions that shouldn't be asked, and he wants the judge to come in and look at this because what they're doing is not right. Like, the judge and the lawyers was arguing all through the disposition. So they know it wasn't right. The legal system in Philadelphia knows that that's not right, but no one is saying nothing. People are afraid to say stuff. Even the Bar Association and other legal people are saying that this case should have been dismissed, but nobody's saying anything. So, okay, where are we now? The judge, the federal judge, he was the one to unseal documents. When a federal judge violates the Constitution, unsealing documents that are supposed to be sealed after paying out money for this situation to go away, because the situation happened. She came to his house. She told the man she was sick. He gave her some Benadryl, and she trying to say he drugged her. Okay. Why are you at his house, and why you bypass the damn hospital to go to Bill Cosby's house, knowing he's not a doctor, and then you're saying he's an American Dad? He on a TV show that doesn't exist, he's an American Dad. He's not a doctor in real life. Why? Something's wrong with Andrea Costanza, or whatever her damn name is. You go to a man's house who's an actor. He acts as a doctor on TV, which is not reality. And you go over there and tell him you don't feel well. He gives you something. That's a trap, because he's an actor. He does that all day long on his show. It's entrapment. So the judge committed treason, as you can see, because he violated the Constitution. The Constitution is not for people. It's for state and federal officials like judges and cops and probation officers and people who swear to take an oath to uphold it. Okay? It has nothing to do with the free people walking around that's working from day to day. It ain't got nothing to do with y'all. It got everything to do with the officials, police officers, judges, senators, congressmen, blah, 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 blah. They're not upholding the rules of that court, which is founded on the Constitution. So This is why Bill Cosby is getting railroaded and nobody's saying anything because everybody's scared to say anything because you got judges involved and you got prosecutors involved. So now, the DA, who was Bruce Costner in 2015, the one that got Bill Cosby to sign the disposition in 2005, giving Costner the payout, he offered Bill Cosby a disposition. And Bill Cosby agreed to the disposition to tell the truth that, yeah, she came to his house. Yeah, he gave her some pills that were like kind of Benadryl. And he thought he was telling the truth, which he was. He didn't know he was being entrapped by a lying woman who claims to be a lesbian who actually isn't, because she letting Bill Cosby kiss her or she kissing him. You're not, what are you? And then you're saying you came out on the disposition and said that you actually have relationships with men as well. You're not a lesbian, you're bisexual. Okay, another lie. Anyway, you allow him to keep giving you gifts and you still calling him and you going to his house and you are going around him and you claim that he was your mentor, but he's thinking that you're being genuine and you're really not. You're secretly recording his phone calls and all of that. It makes it look like the man is doing something to you, which he's not. Okay, so Bruce Costner, he ran again, because let me rewind. After Bill Cosby agreed to sign the disposition, he only agreed to sign that disposition if it was sealed and put under gag order. So once it was agreed to be sealed by the DA, who was Bruce Costner ran against Kevin Steele in 2015 and he lost. So Kevin Steele, the new district attorney of Pennsylvania County, Montgomery County in Pennsylvania, he became the new DA, district attorney. He goes back and agrees to unseal Bill Cosby's case and bring it out. But he agreed to do that because if he ran for office as a district attorney, he ran his campaign on the fact that he was going to bring Bill Cosby down. So whoever he campaigned with, whoever campaigned behind him, they campaigned behind him because they wanted Bill Cosby. And he ran his campaign off the fact that he was going to try Bill Cosby because he felt like Bill Cosby was a rapist. So that was his campaign. He won. Bruce Costner lost. He comes in, he unseals the documents, and then they go to trial New Year's Eve of 2015 because it was right on the 12-year statute of limitation. Okay? So I'm going to give y'all my opinion, and I'm going to close it out. That's what happened to Bill Cosby. My opinion, Bill Cosby has been entrapped by Costner. She secretly recorded him. She was under gag order because the situation would look very bad if it got out. I believe, therefore, Bill Cosby paid her because he is married and he wanted to save his reputation, because if that would have got back to his wife that, yeah, she came over, I gave her some Benadryl, I didn't think nothing of it, I wasn't trying to do anything but that. They didn't even have sex because she's a lesbian. All the people who stood by Bill were harassed by the media. The people that were supporting him are afraid to make statements or are going against Cosby because they're afraid media is going to start exposing them. The judge committed treason by unsealing documents. That violates the Constitution. The Constitution is for government officials who are government employees. It is not for the people. Bill Cosby's defense wanted to introduce into evidence that Costner was gay, but the judge would not allow the evidence on the record. Anything put on the record is evidence. So they strict that from the record so nobody would know that. But she did come out and say that she was a lesbian. So I don't know what that has to do with anything. I guess they're saying, well, nothing really happened because you weren't gonna you're not having sex with him. Y'all didn't have sex. He just gave you a Benadryl. And you're saying he gave you a Benadryl and then he raped you. What are you talking about? It just doesn't make sense. So this is all the evidence of the case. How Bill Cosby got into this was just giving somebody a Benadryl who told him when she came over his house that she was sick. So he was trying to be nice and gave it to her. And 2 years later, she came back and said he drugged her and he raped her. These are the evidence of the case. Like I said, I put the disposition down for 2005 because what they've done is they've built a criminal case off a 2005 civil case disposition, which is a violation of law. You can't do that. You can't bring a settled civil case disposition into a criminal prosecution. That don't even make sense. That any lawyer would not even touch that. But the prosecutors are doing it because the prosecutors are actually the ministers for the state of Philadelphia. Like I said in my video, Bill Cosby versus Philadelphia, that's what Bill Cosby is dealing with. He's dealing with the state of Philadelphia, which is the prosecutor, the district attorney of Montgomery County in Philadelphia. Okay? The state is prosecuting Bill Cosby. Backed by media and media unsealing court documents, which they cannot have. The media is not supposed to have that type of power, but it has gained that type of power. And if you want to know how the media got so much power, go and look at every video from 1980 of Louis Farrakhan, and he will tell you how the media got so powerful. And now the media is attacking Bill Cosby because they say he's a public moralist. A public moralist is just a person who wants everybody to do right. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of public moralists around here. I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this and you like Bill Cosby and you're a moralist, you agree that people should respect the law, respect themselves, respect their clothes, respect women, respect this, respect that. This is why they wanted to make him look like that he was against women. He was a rapist, because a public moralist is not going to be a rapist. They're going to tell women to respect themselves. So this is why they needed to tear him down. And the judge himself said, I'm unsealing these documents because Bill Cosby is a public moralist, which is a person that just wants people to do right, to do everything to a T. Don't drink, don't smoke, because, you know, Bill Cosby was told by Richard Pryor to, because Bill Cosby had complained about Richard Pryor cursing too much, because Bill Cosby don't curse. So that's a moralist. That's a person that doesn't like a lot of cussing, that does everything right. I guess a righteous person, if you want to say. But that's what I got from this case. You got any questions, leave them up there. I'm still going to keep following these cases. Right now, Bill Cosby only has also 7 jurors. Now, in any court across America, they're supposed to have 12 jurors. So 5 people have left because I don't know whether they put them off or not. I have to, research that. But Bill Cosby only has 7 jurors. It's supposed to be 12. Okay? And Also, too, Bill Cosby's lawyer has tried to dismiss this case, and the judges keep blocking it. So this is something local on the Philadelphia's government. It's a local level of corruption. And I also saw, like I said, when I looked around at Kevin Steele in Pennsylvania, the FBI has been investigating them because they're corrupt. They are selling their offices. And here in Virginia, it was a lot of politicians that were doing that. It was a governor that was locked up for doing that. But he got out because the federal judge that locked him up was black. He used reverse racism and said that the black judge was being biased to him or something like that. And he got off because the judge was giving him the maximum time because he was selling his office. He was selling his office to doctors and stuff. And there was a doctor in Philadelphia that actually got caught giving out drugs. So, again, I got to go through the CDC thing because doctors are actually selling these prescription drugs and politicians are allowing them to use their offices to do this stuff. So, this is all I have for right now. Like, share, subscribe, so long. Have a great day.